have another session for you that I think that you're really going to enjoy. I've worked with Brandy Harrison Trotter. It's wrong on your agenda, and that's my fault. She's always been Harrison to me and will always be Brandy. I don't even use her last name most of the time. But she's with the North Central Texas Workforce Board, and she's brought some of her partners, including Department of Labor, some of her employers, to share what they do, how they do it, and ultimately why they do it. So I'm not going to read all their names for you. She's going to introduce them because she can do a better job at it. I just want you to please help me welcome them to our stage to share their story with you. Brandy, take it away.
Thank you. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. Good afternoon again. My name is Brandy Harrison Trotter, and I am the Business Development Supervisor with Workforce Solutions for North Central Texas. And we appreciate you attending our session entitled RAPSheet, a step-by-step blueprint for a successful registered apprenticeship program. And as Desi mentioned, I have my esteemed colleagues here to do most of the talking, to share their experience in the registered apprenticeship process from the training provider perspective as well as the employer perspective, and how we've been able to partner very closely with the Department of Labor to get this project up and running. So for our agenda today, we will start with an introduction of the panelists. We will go through what the Workforce Board has been doing to prepare to promote registered apprenticeship to our partners and help to further develop these programs throughout the region. Majority of this session will be a panel discussion where you will hear from these gentlemen about how they've been working within the registered apprenticeship space, and also sharing some tips for how to get started. We have a very cool video that I cannot wait for you all to see that all three of these gentlemen are starring in as well. And then we will follow up with questions and answers from the audience. So Tony, go ahead and introduce yourself and let everyone know what you do at Bombardier.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Tony Curry. I'm the General Manager of Bombardier Aerospace in Red Oak, Texas. As you can tell from the accent, I'm not from Texas. I'm from Belfast, Northern Ireland. Basically, we manufacture the Global 7500 wing for the Global 7500 business jet. It's a 114-foot wing, and we have about 450 people at the factory. And in 2019, we launched an amazing apprenticeship scheme, so we're all very proud of that. I can't wait to share that with you later on.
Thank you. And Tony is also a member of our Workforce Board. Adam, you're up next.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Adam Barber. I'm Executive Director for Workforce Training and Continuing Education with TSTC, or Texas State Technical College. Have the privilege of working mostly in Central Texas, but really across the state to work with industries such as Bombardier and others to help identify training needs, develop training programs specific to needs, and then ultimately implement is what we typically do. In a nutshell, just get the opportunity to really push our mission for the college, which is to place Texans in great paying jobs.
Thank you. John?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm John Kuzdar, Apprenticeship and Training Representative from the Dallas Field Office of Apprenticeship, U.S. Department of Labor. I'm one of the field representatives, one of 6 in the state of Texas in regional or district offices in Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. We're kind of the behind-the-scenes team that support the Apprenticeship Texas team out there, and the staff at the Workforce Board levels to work locally with employers and training providers and organizations like yourself to get apprenticeship programs developed and implement it.
Thank you. So in line with our session title, I wanted to share some background about Workforce Solutions for North Central Texas Blueprint for Registered Apprenticeship. As you know, every blueprint has its main requirements, and so I'll talk a little bit about what our blueprint looks like from start to where we are presently. And so we'll start with the plans for the drawing, how it got started. Initially, we did a lot of 101 sessions with the Department of Labor. John was kind enough to come on site to our office to really just give us the rundown on registered apprenticeship, help us to understand how it benefits employers, how it benefits career seekers, and how we can translate that in our conversations with employers. And so we also have a strategic plan focus area for career exploration, and registered apprenticeship fits very neatly into that. We also educated ourselves by speaking to different partners and attending conferences like this and webinars to gather as much information as possible regarding registered apprenticeship. The dimensions, which was building the partner scheme. My team of business development liaisons is already tasked with meeting with employers one-on-one in the community to discuss their workforce needs, and then we offer solutions and resources based on what their needs are. And so through these one-on-one meetings, we've been able to hear what their training needs are and introduce this training model to them as an option. In some cases, you know, they were pretty familiar with what registered apprenticeship was, but with the diversification of all of the programs out there, many of them have been pleasantly surprised to know that they can develop a registered apprenticeship program, even if it's not related to a trade occupation. And we collaborated with many workforce partners. There's been conversations with other workforce boards that are doing this. As the apprenticeship navigator for North Central, I get to participate in calls once a month with other navigators across the state. So it's always good to hear what is working in other areas and identify new things that we can try where we are. And then, again, working with DOL, our education and training providers, and also our economic development partners have been very helpful in bringing employers and industry to the table to have these discussions. And so now for the notes, the employer and industry needs. Again, the information comes from in-depth discussions with employers about their needs and helping them to understand how this model can address those and also help them to build a talent pipeline, which everybody knows there's a huge need for that, and there will continue to be a huge need for that. And one of the things I'm very grateful for, we have a 14-county region, so it's very large. And so we have both John and Kelly Johnson that serve our area, and they have been very helpful in participating in those employer meetings with us to help make the employers more comfortable too with the process. But it's also a learning experience for us every time we do that. So John, I appreciate you, and Kelly very, very much. And so more recently, we've been awarded 2 Apprenticeship Texas expansion grants. The first one, our partners were Bombardier and also Campfire First Texas, which was the first child care registered apprenticeship program in the state. And recently, we were awarded another grant to partner further with Bombardier and also Velex, located in Frisco. And so in terms of education and awareness, that is one of the deliverables on the grant, but it's also how we're able to educate our partners on this model. We hosted the North Central Texas Apprenticeship Forum in March of this year, and that included a panel of our registered apprenticeship host, Bombardier, Campfire, and also TSTC participated. We developed a apprenticeship model overview and case studies backgrounder, and I would be happy to send that to you if you are interested in taking a look. It just gives a little insight into the Bombardier program and then also another program that's within our area with Service King. Following the panel, you'll get to see the mini documentary video that we created. We continue to have the one-on-one employer meetings, partnerships with our EDC partners, and we tout registered apprenticeship as a career exploration opportunity. And next week, we'll be hosting an iWork event for youth, and we do plan to have some of our apprenticeship partners present so that the youth can also be introduced to those opportunities that exist. And so now we're going to get to the stars of the show, our panelists. Okay, so this first question is for Tony. What led to your decision to implement a registered apprenticeship program for your organization, and what are some of the key goals that you wanted to achieve?
Okay, thanks, Brandy. First of all, my job is, first of all, I'm an ex-apprentice. I started in 1986, so, and I'm very keen on the apprenticeship program. My job is to, for the last 36 years, is to go to different parts of the world, Asia, Europe, Canada, and now the US, to try and transform factories, manufacturing facilities that make aerostructures for aircraft. So before the decision, there has to be a problem. The problem was quite clear. When I arrived at the factory in Red Oak in 2019, there was basically 60% subcontractors, and the rest were permanent employees. Those contractors, as many of you may know in the aerospace industry, they came from places like Houston, mostly Wichita, so there's a whole lot of Kansas number plates in the parking lot. And as many of you know, in terms of manufacturing efficiency, you have to get down a learning curve in order to make your site profitable. So the first issue was that we had an imbalance in our workforce. We had transient labor that wasn't from the area, and if somebody else offered 50 cents more than a dollar, they left, and there was my learning curve going out through the door. So I needed to fix it. So I had high attrition, unstable labor, and couldn't get down a learning curve. So the first thing we done was to try and fix that. And we needed to come up with a training program that would bring local people in and train them to work in our factory and stay. To do that, we decided to launch an apprenticeship program. The same type of apprenticeship program that we've done in the UK, Germany, Morocco, and other places. So we started off basically by looking at putting a structured program together that would bring people in from the local community without any formal training. We didn't need a qualification. Now, trying to get into the aerospace industry is really difficult, so this is the only program like it that brings in people. But the people in our area were working in mom and pop shops, they were working in automotive, they needed skilled training, and so we set up an apprenticeship training program, and basically that was how it was structured. Was 3 months with TSTC in a purpose-built classroom, and then 3 months on the shop floor with a journeyman or journey person, to learn the trade, and then they were guaranteed a job. Now we did have to, do very careful selection, but our only criteria was a willingness and good dexterity skills, and you had to pass an aptitude test. That opened a lot of workforce potential. It was amazing. So a lot of people came through the door. Some didn't make it, but with the help of TSTC and their training facility, and the help of the Department of Labor, with Workforce Solutions of North Central Texas, we put together a comprehensive training program. And now, out of a factory of 475, I have 73% permanent, and the rest are subcontract. And we're a lot more efficient.
And I just want to add that Tony and his team are very proactive when it comes to workforce. When the program was first registered, Tony and his team had developed an upskilling committee, and it involved different entities from the community that could help to address workforce issues. That included our board, also TSTC, Navarro College, which is also in their service area, in the EDC. And so I think that having that vision, that forethought, and bringing the right people to the table really helps. So I want to commend you for doing that. This next question is for John. In your role with DOL, what shifts have you seen in employers' mindsets about registered apprenticeship, and what is the biggest advantage for them to consider?
Thank you, Brandy, for the question. I would just say from a national standpoint, Department of Labor standpoint, there a number of the nation's most recognizable companies, what's the word? The Fortune 500 companies, companies like IBM, Amazon, Toyota, companies that have recently come to Texas, have all recognized that registered apprenticeship is a model that they want to integrate into their talent development strategies, into their talent acquisition and talent recruitment and talent development strategies. But it not just works for large organizations like that, it can work for small employers as well. So it's a model that fits all of those, all needs at all levels. And it allows you to expand and enlarge the talent pool that you're able to attract and recruit and select from, because it is a model that accommodates all levels of talent, wherever they come in, from a zero experience entry level to a mid-career, well-experienced level. There are options and accommodations for all of those to come into the apprenticeship system. So it's a model that works across the board. And I would say some of the key advantages to that, to doing that, is that, again, it allows you to recruit and develop a highly skilled workforce from a much broader pool of candidates. Building the stability and the repeatability of an apprenticeship program allows you to improve your profitability and the positive impact to your bottom line, because you've got more structure, which gives you a higher quality of product and a higher profitability, higher productivity, better safety rates, all those kinds of impacts. It helps you minimize the cost of turnover and replacing that revolving door, that entry-level position that you maybe just can't keep filled, as Tony mentioned, where folks are coming in and they're there for a few months, and 50 cents or $1 an hour, they're down the road to another employer. It also creates flexibility in the options so that you get to design that program in partnership with the training provider to customize it to meet your specific needs of your organization. And I'll just point out this fact that 93% of apprentices who complete an apprenticeship program remain with the employer that employed them as an apprentice. So it's a huge retention rate. I would ask a lot of HR departments out there, how many of you have a 90+% retention rate? And so that's the other one other thing that apprenticeship brings to the table.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Particularly with the pandemic, employers for a long time were just in the position of trying to find people to fill their jobs. That just was seen across multiple industries because of what was happening. And I think now too, career seekers are even being a little bit more selective about the positions that they're taking. And it is based on a lot of these things. And the apprenticeship model does offer the opportunity for an employer to provide value to that employee, making them want to stay and learn more and do more for the organization. So the retention piece is definitely prevalent. Okay, Adam, I have a question for you. From your vantage point, why do you feel that the registered apprenticeship model is so important to the future workforce?
Yeah, great question. As you mentioned earlier, and as we all know, there's a huge demand across the state for skilled talent. And, the reality is, with an aging workforce, that demand's only going to grow, over the coming years. So really gone are the days where you can, post a job and have skilled folks lined up at your door. It just doesn't work that way anymore. So when you can't find them with the skills that you want, you've got to, find the folks and develop them, train them, give them what you want, if you will. So really the apprenticeship model allows you to do that. Not only can you, provide the content that you want specifically for your workforce, but you can also focus directly on, what your goals are for the future and really what your outcomes are for what you're trying to accomplish. So the apprenticeship model is really a key way in which we can meet that demand when the skilled workers aren't necessarily there. So.
Okay. And to follow up with that, in working with employers to develop these types of programs, what do you feel is most important for them to consider, and what should they be prepared for?
Yeah, we were fortunate when working with Bombardier to, have a really open discussion, open relationship as we kind of thought through this process. I mean, literally got a call, when was that? June probably of 2019, just a random phone call from somebody in Canada that spoke French that I could barely understand. So that's kind of where it started. But just, in my opinion, a few things to consider. What are you hoping to gain from the program? What outcomes or expectations do you have? Is it 500 or is it 50? Do you need 500, but realistically we can only do 50? Great, let's have that conversation. So, and then the other thing is timelines. Realistically, how soon can we get this done? I think it took us, we were talking earlier, but I think it took us about 6 months to just get the guts of the program put together, the training program, what we really wanted to do. So how soon, realistically, can we get that done? And just have an open dialogue about those things, about what we're hoping for, and some of the bumps along the way, the hurdles, the challenges that we expect to see. So that's important, and I think you just have to be prepared for the time that it takes. Anything that's worth something takes time to get done, so that's important. We really put forth the effort and made sure that we paid attention to the details as we put this thing together. So I would say that's very important. Financial investment is a big part of it as well. Tony and his team, they deserve a lot of credit. They went into this thing, with both feet, and they said, we're going to invest what we need to invest to make this a success. And having done so, we've trained over 130 apprentices over almost a 3-year period. So hats off to them for that and their investment. And then just great relationships, I think, with partners, Workforce Solutions. DOL and John and those folks is critical, and then obviously having a key relationship with the educational partner or training provider is very important as well. It really does take a collaborative effort, asking the right questions, making the right commitment, with the ultimate goal of meeting the needs of the workforce.
Great. So Tony, please describe your experience in developing the program. What did you find easier than expected, and what did you find most challenging?
First of all, the program itself, we got tremendous support from TSTC. I mean, we actually went into their building and started knocking down walls and putting aerostructures up, which was good. Workforce Solutions really helped us, guided us. And John helped with all the form filling and all the complicated stuff that we had to go through, because now our program is it's not just an apprenticeship program where you get a Bombardier certificate. It's a program that's nationally recognized right across the US. So I think first of all the support. I mean, the state's the ninth largest economy in the world if we were our own country, and you have tremendous support for business here. It's fantastic. I do think we do need some additional support from the state and from at federal levels. I see it coming through now, but we took a lot of the burden on at the very start. We went into the facility, we paid for the program, we paid for the materials. We did eventually get grants coming through, which was appreciated. But I think as was mentioned earlier, there can't be a stigmatism around apprenticeships. we have unlocked a strata here of people that do not have a qualification, but have the willingness to learn and the sheer perseverance to succeed. And in today's work environment, if we don't change the model, the paradigm that we have, that you have to have a certificate or a piece of paper, we're not going to get the right people. You're going to see in the video coming through that there's people which we picked up from all sorts of backgrounds, whether it's making mattresses, and now they're working on a Mach 1 wing that costs upwards of $10 million a set, and we deliver one every 6 days, and they are walking through the factory as proud as hell, right? So there's a face behind each one of these, and to see the engagement, if we just get out there and recruit these people with the support network that we have in this great state, is something really untapped and something we should be really motivated to explore more.
Great, thank you. And just in talking to the apprentices, and you'll also see some commentary from them in the video, it has been a really good experience for them. And as Tony said, it just takes the will of wanting to do something. They had very different backgrounds, the 5 that we followed, but here they are going through this apprenticeship program and learning something totally different and very valuable, as well as being transferable. So I'm so excited for the video. Okay, John, how do you work with employers and training providers through the program registration process? What are some of the key things employers should consider when developing a program?
Thank you. Thanks, Randy, for that question. I can tell you that one of the best parts of my job is the opportunity to work directly with employers and with training providers, but I don't. That's not always the case, and a lot of times I would venture to say maybe most of the time those opportunities come to us already pre-developed because those employers or those training providers have worked together and they've already contacted and worked through the Apprenticeship Texas team with Desi and Ann and Tara. And they've already started the process and gotten their guidance from them on how to do that. They've also engaged with the local workforce board, and like Brandy and her team at North Central Texas. They've already started those conversations. So that's how most of this happens. And that makes my job a lot easier because a lot of the initial groundwork has already been laid and the questions have been answered by those experts. So it makes my life easier. And that was certainly the case with Bombardier. I was the last one to the table. I was the last girl to the dance, so to speak. But again, that was so refreshing because they had already had all of those conversations ahead of time. Again, with Tony's leadership, and he identified the problem, said we need to solve this and we need to think outside the box. We have to try something new, because if we keep doing what we've been doing, we're going to keep getting what we've been getting, and that's not working. And so when Adam and the Texas State Technical College got brought in, they brought that perspective and that expertise on how to make this work and what are the exact needs. They were able to drill down and identify those details. And Brandy was able to kind of lead the efforts on the collaboration on funding and recruiting and conducting job fairs to reach out and identify that talent pool and bring them in. So it is a process, and there's we're just with DOL apprenticeship, we're just a piece of that process. All of these other team members with Apprenticeship Texas and your local boards and your fabulous training providers that we have throughout the state, the community colleges, is an incredible system. That's where a lot of the work and the value gets added to this. But specifically to that point, those kinds of things that identified in those initial conversations are questions like, what are your most critical skilled needs, right? What positions do you have that you're having the hardest time either to fill because you can't find the correct talent to fill those positions, or which positions are you having the hardest time sustaining or maintaining talent, because it's a revolving door. We bring people in, and then they leave, 6 months or a year later, they leave and they go elsewhere. They take what they learned here and they go market it. So what are the jobs that you have the hardest time keeping and maintaining? What are the skill areas that your mid-level and advanced level talented are the closest to leaving? So your aging workforce, where the bulk of your knowledge and your expertise lies, and your middle management, your leadership positions, how close are they to retirement? And what is your plan to replace or capture that knowledge and transfer it so that you can retain that in your organization? Otherwise, you lose it when they leave. And then what are the most cost-effective, most convenient, most operationally implementable relationships for training providers? Who are the best options out there for us to identify training providers? Is it the community college? Is it Texas State Technical College? Is it another local training provider or school? Or is it one of your suppliers or your vendors? Those are the kinds of questions that we kind of talk through, we ask, and that helps us bring all the right pieces together to build an apprenticeship program.
Great. And just to tag on to something that John said, I would be totally remiss if I didn't thank the TWC apprenticeship team, Desi, Tara, and I know there's so many more. I appreciate your willingness to be able to walk us all through this process. I know I've had a lot of questions. I'm waiting for Tara to block me in email because I bother her a lot. But it is very much appreciated what you all do, and I'm sure everyone else in this room would echo that sentiment. So this next question is for Adam. Knowing that TSTC is a statewide training provider and very well versed in providing all types of industry training, what has been the most beneficial aspect of developing apprenticeship programs for TSTC?
Yeah, great question. I would say, the most rewarding aspect of putting this program together is definitely, and you'll see it on the video in a second, but it's just those individuals that really had no skills when they started, but now they can go and work, as Tony said, on a multi-million-dollar wing. Just to see the success stories that come from this, and just the really changing of lives that's occurred for lots of these folks. And many are now some of the best employees, I think, at the facility. So that's, for me, we talked about our why. That's kind of my why, at the end of the day, seeing that outcome and seeing, why we do this is really rewarding. And just beyond that, being able to provide a solution for a great partner, a great company such as Bombardier. They had a glaring need when they came to us, 3 years ago, and just to be able to provide that solution for 100 plus employees is really a critical aspect and very rewarding as well. Just seeing all the hard work that so many have put in. We've mentioned Workforce Solutions and the DOL, TWC apprenticeship. Just seeing all that kind of collaborate and come together in this type of program is really cool to see. I mentioned earlier, but Bombardier, Tony, his crew really do deserve a lot of credit just for having the vision to see this. Apprenticeship's not a new model, but it's a well-kept secret, as someone mentioned earlier. So just them being able to commit to this and provide the resources, as I mentioned, is really cool to see as well. So just the whole effort that goes into it, just to see the final product, to see, again, like I mentioned, lives change is really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And so to follow up with that, Tony, in terms of the program, what are your long-term goals for the apprenticeship program? And is there any thought or discussion around developing additional programs for other occupations within the Bombardier organization?
Okay, thanks. So first of all, we're going to keep apprenticeships. So we're invested for the next few years. We went from in 2019, we went from the worst plant in Bombardier to to last year becoming the best plant in Bombardier, and we also won the Train Award for North Central Texas for the largest employer. I accredit a lot of that turnaround to the fact of getting local people with local skin in the game who want to stay and work in the local area to make a difference. So there's lots of different secret recipes out there, but I could not have kept I could not have got the efficiency. I could have not have got the dedication and really the loyalty. People are loyal now. They're walking about with the Bombardier shirts on, and they've got their uncles there and their aunts there, and when you can get that type of engagement from your workforce, and I know it's not exactly the question, but I'll veer off, but. I think the biggest part of the apprenticeship, and both my colleagues here and Brandy, you can get an employee that comes in that's already trained in exactly what you want. Sometimes, the guys and girls that come in now know the health and safety, they know our processes, we train them. We don't go fishing and hopefully we get an 80% match. We don't go fishing, we know exactly what we're getting in. And they're already trained. They come in, they know how to clock in, they know our time and attendance system, they know our processes, they know their specs. They've got their buddy partner. The buddy partner knows their aunts and their families and blah, 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 where they came from. And it works. It really, really does work. So the second part of your question is about, we need to, I work with Commissioner Alvarez, who's there as well. We need to expand, quite frankly. I would see us making an aerospace cluster of apprenticeships in North Central Texas, where we open it up to people like Lockheed Martin, Airbus, and I work with some of these colleagues at the state level, and we need to have a robust aerospace roadmap for Texas. And part of that needs to be training and development of apprentices going forward. So I'm passionate about this, as you probably can tell, and we're not going to stop this.
Yeah. And I will attest that T-shirt is super comfortable. Me too. Wear it all the time. So yeah, that loyalty and pride to see from the employees that you're investing in, I mean, it's a huge ROI for sure. And so this next question is for John. With registered apprenticeship becoming more diverse than ever, what are some of the more unique occupations that you have worked with employers to develop programs for?
Thanks, Brandy. That's a great question. One of the funny things that I encounter regularly is that when we have a conversation with a group, particularly an employer who's not familiar with us, they think, boy, there's the U.S. Department of Labor, government's coming in to tell us what to do, and they're very tentative, right? Cautious about engaging with the government, but within the regulation, the structure, that bureaucracy that DOL brings, there's a tremendous amount of flexibility in these programs, and we have a lot of flexibility within those parameters to build programs, to develop those programs in conjunction with employer partners, in conjunction with training provider partners, to customize that for that employer's needs, no matter what business you're in or what size your organization is. That we can find something that fits. And that goes for the talent, too, that you're able to attract and you reach out and bring in. Apprenticeship enables you to reach out and touch that talent where they are, not where you need them to be. As Tony was just describing, they come through the apprenticeship program. They're already prepared and they know exactly what to do. So we bring in talent at all levels, across all diversities. So that's just to kind of give you the flexibility. People hear DOL, they hear government and apprenticeship, and they're like, no, I don't think we want to get into that. There really is so much flexibility and customization that we can do in there. Some of the unique things, I made some notes on a couple of the unique occupations. When I came into apprenticeship, I didn't know that we had ability to do these. We've developed, within the state of Texas, we've developed programs for a substance addiction peer support specialist. I have two registered apprenticeship programs to do that. Drone pilots, elevator mechanics. They never thought about elevators and escalators, who builds them, who maintains them, who installs them. That is a fascinating career and skill to be in. IT, of course, help desks, bartender programs. We have apprenticeship for bartenders and restaurant staff, sous chefs, right? Hotel and lodging front desk associates and hotel managers. Recreation assistant for recreation and entertainment programs, fitness trainers, massage therapists, fence installers, one that I'm working on now with an American Fence Association, installing the folks that put up fences from your backyard fence to your security fence around your facility. Teachers and teaching assistants, landscapers, health aides. So across all sectors, you can see apprenticeship can work for whatever it is that you do.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay, and so the last question is going to be for everyone. If you could say one thing to encourage employers to develop programs, what would that be?
That's a good question. I would say, it's an opportunity, as we mentioned, to build your workforce, to, really help close that skills gap that's out there, really customize exactly what you need and really control the narrative, if you will, as far as the talent pipeline. It really affords employers a, grassroots, hands-on approach to really help meet your needs. So it's really unique in that way and really a beneficial model. Just to be able to identify skill sets, to recruit to your needs, to build the curriculum, as mentioned, to training schedules, pay structure, all those things are determined when developing a program. So those are all things you have the opportunity to control, as a part of the apprenticeship model. And then just, other natural effects of the program, improved productivity. Tony mentioned that, retention, which ultimately leads to, a healthier bottom line, which we all, appreciate. So, apprenticeship is certainly not the sole solution to the glaring need that's out there, but, it's a great option for employers looking to, manage the workforce and develop that skilled talent. So, and get ahead of the curve, if you will.
I think we need to do like a stop, start, and continue process. I think we need to stop sitting back and reading resumes and hoping that it'll pop out exactly the employee that we want. I think we need to start. I think we need to start by going out, and we need to change the paradigm that we have. We need to go out and tailor a program and invest in training to attract local talent. And continue is maybe we need the support that we have in Texas with the Department of Labor. They will come in and work beside you as a partner, and they will help you with the likes of Workforce Solutions and a partner like TSTC. You're not alone. Get them in your boardroom, tell them what you want, put some money down, and go for it, and they will support you. Because reading resumes is not going to work.
And I would just say, again, Tony just mentioned, and so did Adam, about there are lots of other options, or lots of other tools out there. Registered apprenticeship is not the be-all, end-all of things. It's not the solve all your problems tool, but because it takes a lot of work and a lot of customization to do that. And that's why again we include partners with primarily starting with the employers, and we ask them, what do you need? We bring in training providers like Texas State Technical College and all of our other area colleges. We bring in the Apprenticeship Texas staff at TWC and get them engaged at the state level. We bring in the local workforce boards like Workforce Solutions North Central Texas. We bring them in and provide all the tools that can come in that toolbox. So every time we just reach in, everything's not a hammer. We have a lot of precision tools in there. But registered apprenticeship is probably, again, aside from the structure that it brings in the regulatory requirements, registered apprenticeship is the most, among those tools, is the most flexible program to develop a talent development strategy for your organization. It is the most proven. It's been under the Department of Labor for more than 85 years now. So apprenticeship works, right? Even though it's the best kept secret in workforce, the secret's out now. I think we can agree. It's the most recognized, again, with all the recent attention over the last several years. It is the most reliable because of the structure, because of the predictability, because it's a wash, rinse, repeat process. You're going to get a consistent product of talent through that process. Is the most effective because of all the advantages it brings to your organization. We talked about cost effective, increased productivity, increased profitability, increased quality and safety standards. It is the most adaptable, as I said, because we have within the parameters, we have all these options and all the other tools in the toolbox that can fit neatly into that package. So it's an all of the above process with registered apprenticeship at the focal point. And so that's what I would say it is. It's not the be all end all, but it can work in just about every situation that you might be facing.
Great, thank y'all for that information and that insight. And so now we're going to share our mini documentary video that we filmed in partnership with all of these gentlemen and their organizations. And it really highlights the benefits of registered apprenticeship, both for an employer and also from the career seeker perspective. And it highlights the importance of partnerships in the community to make this type of effort work.
One of the stories I do tell, there was a gentleman who used to work in the local detailing shop, and when I left my car in, he asked me, was there any jobs going here? So I gave him an application form, and he's now one of our best employees, right? He was 42 years of age, and he's come through the apprenticeship training program. He gives me high fives every time I walk past him, and the attention to detail and the skills that he has are second to none. Sometimes we can focus a lot on the business side, but I personally take tremendous pride in being able to walk through a factory and see so many faces from the local community that have sincerely given their all, and we're just very, very proud of them.
The idea of apprenticeship goes back to the Middle Ages, and the most famous apprentice was the apprentice to Merlin the magician, right? But it goes back even 3,000 or 4,000 years to the Egyptian Empire. In 1937, federal legislation created the National Apprenticeship System, and it gave the Department of Labor the responsibility of developing and then managing that. And so the Department of Labor now has representatives like myself and other staff out in the field to oversee and further that apprenticeship development. We partner with the states, all the local workforce boards, community colleges, local high schools that have career technical programs, and then obviously the employers and the business community.
It's being able to listen to employers where they're telling us, look, I just need somebody to do this. It requires an industry recognized credential. And the Registered Apprenticeship Program is the best model because it's an earn while you learn. And our job, especially mine, is to go out there and promote this great training model.
Bombardier Aerospace came to this site and we saw a tremendous opportunity. We knew that in the local area we had skilled people, but we knew that those people needed to be trained. To do that, we undertook with Texas State Technical College with the Department of Labour and also with the support from Workforce Solutions to put together an apprenticeship training program specifically designed to support the manufacture and assembly of the Global 7500 wing.
The program that we've started up has specifically targeted people that live in this area. It's like creating a community workforce.
I came here hoping to get a job just like everybody else.
I was an oil field engineer for 17 years. It's completely new field for me, so it's very challenging for me.
I didn't know anything about this. It's completely new to me. I came from the military, diesel tech.
I came to this class, I figured just getting to work, getting to do something.
I originally was food service management, and I'm trying to step into the aviation world to do something different.
Hopefully I'm doing well enough to, get a chance.
It's a very, very fast pace. From Aviation 101, you'll go through blueprints and into drilling holes, installing rivets. We move into other forms and other fasteners that actually get installed, and each one has its own process. We have students up as early as 18 years old and as old as in their early 50s. They've all came through this program with one thing, is they're looking for a fresh start. And that's what this program really is about, to be able to get into the aviation industry and work with a world-class builder of aircraft.
I came in this brand new to aviation, so I knew absolutely nothing. So most definitely the class helped me succeed. The teams are great to work with. The leadership is good. You have the freedom to succeed and really move at your own pace.
It's a little scary, but it's kind of fun. Makes you feel like, oh, maybe, they are watching that. They do know that I somewhat know what I'm doing.
They're definitely a lot different, lots more people, lots more machinery.
The training, the mentor here that I received, is awesome. They're very knowledgeable, and it's just been good. It's been really good experience for me.
I think I'm getting a lot of good stuff from it. I'm being more prepared. I don't see myself leaving. I'm pretty comfortable here.
From a skills perspective, they're far beyond what we're used to getting. They walk into the shop, they know what they're working on, they know the tools, they know the basic methods and principles they need to go do their job. And they are, I would say, far beyond any trainees we've had ever in the past. It has been a tremendous boost to the shop.
Not everyone learns by the lecture piece, walking into the classroom and sitting down and listening to someone talk. A lot of our learners, if not all, are the hands-on type folks.
The apprenticeship really prepares you for what you're getting into. So you know right from the start what to expect, what you're coming here for.
We're teaching people what our drawings are, what our specifications are, our exact needs. We're able to fill them with that education.
And having Workforce Solutions be able to kind of guide us through the process, we wouldn't be where we're at today. So just an absolute true partnership.
Now I'm hired on. You get benefits, paid time off, you call in sick, you'll be okay.
Health insurance, life insurance, accidental death and dismemberment, 401k. It's a good feeling to be able to have benefits.
Became direct hire in the middle of August, and it's been great so far. I feel more of a part of the group now, working with everybody else, especially just having time and getting to know everybody.
I've learned different fasteners, I've learned different collars, terminology. I've learned how to use different hand tools. It's been a lot, and it's been pretty cool.
Bombardier is a great place to work, and you guys should try it.
This has given them the skill, and the roots are planted here. We know we have a stable workforce, and this is a tremendous benefit for us. So in terms of bottom line, in terms of employee morale, and also in terms of the benefit we get from training and developing people. This is the key secret to our success here in Red Oak, Texas. And Department of Labour, we're here every single week supporting us through the certification program. Workforce Solutions, we're always part of the meetings.
We want to make sure that a company never leaves our state because they can't find the workforce. And so when you have a program such as this allows us to make sure that we have employees in those seats, that we have employers that are satisfied with the workforce that they have. And when we bring that together, we have success in our state.
It's not really a off-the-shelf, type program. So it's really You tell us what your needs are, and we will develop something around those needs.
Whatever you need as an industry partner, we're able to provide.
We have it in healthcare, registered nurses are going through it, IT, I mean, you name it, we'll do it. Right now, we're looking at doing it in the restaurant industry. And it's amazing what people are learning about this great training model that we have.
I don't know why any company wouldn't do it this way if they had the opportunity. To have your folks know everything about your business the minute they walk into the door, I don't even know if you could put a dollar amount on that. It's been tremendous for us.
When we announced the first cohort of 25 people to come into the factory at an all-hands meeting, there was a cheer, right? We invested it in the local people, and that payback we can see in not just the premises faces, but in our employees' faces.
I absolutely love that video. I get chills every time I watch it, even though I've seen it multiple times. But one of the things that I hope you all recognized in that is the diversity of the apprentices that are coming through the program and learning the skills that they need to be in the aviation industry. Like Tony said, a resume is not always going to tell you everything that you want to know about an employee, and it also doesn't fully highlight their skills and abilities. So hats off to Bombardier for the diversity in attracting candidates. And so now I would like to introduce another integral partner in this process, Mr. Chad Harrison with Bombardier. He serves as the compliance officer and was extremely helpful in pulling together all of the people and pieces for the documentary. I'll turn it over to Chad to share more about the benefits for both Bombardier and the apprentices.
Thank you, Brandy. So we talked about apprenticeships, why it's so important, why we did it. We kind of got to watch, the video where followed them through it because, they didn't know if they were going to make it or not, which was really cool to watch that, and in the end they become a partner or part of the family. So where are they at now? So I'm proud to recognize Elsa Hickok over to the right, your left. She was Apprentice of the Year for 2021. So beat out a lot of other people, well deserving. Absolutely. I think she worked in a mattress firm before and was unemployed for 15 years, wanted to get back into the workforce, went through our apprenticeship program, and then, boom, knocked it out of the park. Rhonda Hawthorne in the middle from food service. I talked to both of these ladies yesterday and still living it, still walk in with that pride. They want to be part of the family. They are part of the family. And it's you can't put a price on it like Phil Shepard said. And why wouldn't you do it? So it's great. So that's where they're at now. They're still with us. They're still coming in with that pep in their step, and it's spreading. It's really good. So their energy is spreading to others. And, Elsa said, so proud of Bombardier, TSTC, and the apprenticeship program to give me this opportunity because a lot of companies will not. She would have just been overlooked. Like Tony said, put the resumes down. But our benefits for us, for Bombardier, you reduce that onboarding time. So these people, they're showing up. They know our culture. They know how we work. They know how to work. They know how to drill. Granted, they have their buddy partner, their wingtip, I call it. Wingtip doesn't make the plane fly. It just helps steer it and makes it more efficient. They're the wings that are making the wing. So really good.
Thank you. Okay, so now we want to open it up to the audience to ask any questions that you have about what you've heard in the presentation or something spurred a different thought. We're happy to take any questions. They were that good, huh? Go ahead, ma'am.
Currently, as part of this program, it's just adults. We have had conversations about what that might look like with, Red Oak ISD, for example. How can we do sort of maybe a pre-apprenticeship program and then move them into this apprenticeship program? So we've had discussions about that, and I'm sure we'll continue to.
Yeah, personally, I think, so we just had 17 apprentices start Monday. I think the next phase of our apprenticeship model is to get into the schools. I don't think we're doing a good job there, so we need to get off our butts and going into schools, right?
And I can say that both I have had conversations with Brandy, and her team is already working to reach out to Red Oak ISD to engage the high school in the next step of that pre-apprenticeship or youth apprenticeship to registered apprenticeship process. From a Department of Labor standpoint, pre-apprenticeship and youth apprenticeship is a huge priority for us as we expand the pathways and the networks to apprenticeship. So we're having those conversations at the national level, at the regional level, at the field level, and every time I meet with Brandy and her team, I meet with Monica at Collin College or Anita at Dallas College, some of my biggest partners to work with. We're always talking about, let's get the high schools, the ISDs to the table. Let's get them into this conversation. Let's start talking about how we can bring youth in, how we can maybe manage dual credit processes, all of the above. So again, it is an all of the above menu, but that is very much at the forefront of DOL apprenticeship priorities.
I think it's a really good question. I think we really need to improve our PR. You know, we need to get our message out there a lot better. You know, young people coming through they need to have it in their career schools and offices. We need to, you know, it needs to be all of us here to help out. It should be an opportunity, you know, because you don't have a certificate doesn't mean you can't work in like the aerospace industry. It doesn't mean you can't, you know, climb. And one of our apprentices is just about to go for his inspector's job, so he's going to move up. Another one is looking at a supervisor's job, and like we're barely 3 years into this, right? So they are rocketing through because they have the perseverance and willingness that you can't bottle. They've been given an opportunity, and I think we need to get into schools and make sure that opportunity is firmly on the table as an option.
Yeah, and to tag onto what you just said, Tony, I think on the pre-apprenticeship side of things, the board is definitely engaging in conversations around that. And I think that what you just shared, Tony, you know, the opportunity to move up within an organization, not saying that you do this apprenticeship and that's where you stay, that's important for youth and also other adults that may be looking to move into a different career. That is something that they should be aware of. And so I think that pre-apprenticeship can help to expose them not only to gaining some of those upfront skills, but also that perspective as well, knowing that that could just be a starting place and can go in many different directions.
Hey, Brandy, can I interrupt for just a second?
Of course you can.
And if I could please remind y'all that when you ask a question, you need to go to the mic, because our virtual audience cannot hear when you talk from the audience. So we want to be very courteous to them at all times if possible. Thank you. And then we do have a question.
I have a question over here, and I'm sorry, I'm not standing by the mic because I broke my foot. I'm right over here. I have my hand up. My name's Aurora Geis, and I'm with New Apprenticeship. And Tony, I just want to acknowledge you for the great work that you did to have the courage as a leader in the organization to shift or to make the decision to reduce the number of subcontractors of 60% to 73% of full-time employees. To me, that is extraordinary courage as a leader, and I just want to applaud you for that decision. For Chad, the question that I have for you is, you mentioned the apprenticeship program reduces on the onboarding experience. And for many of the listeners that are here today, can you talk us through a little bit about what you mean by that?
Of course. Thank you. Great question. So your typical onboarding, you're getting your employees to come in and they're going to sit through your safety class, your HS&E, et cetera. They're receiving that during this apprenticeship. So they have a block of time while they're in their apprenticeship where they get all that done there. So they block it in time. So they do that there during the apprenticeship. And then they come and do factory tours. So they're getting to see the tour. We have a good, we're only a mile away from the Texas State Technical College to where the apprenticeship program is. So that's really good, you know, as far as being close by. But they're able to visit the site, on board, on the onboarding is pretty much almost eliminated because it's all done during the apprenticeship program. Yes, sorry.
Thank you, and it was great clarification to hear that in the apprenticeship program, you created as part of that the onboarding structure in the first 90 days or so. Michael Watkins at work, if you don't know who that is, he wrote the book on the first 90 days. There you go, thanks.
Awesome, thank you.
Hello, my name is Paul Puente. I'm the Executive Secretary for the Houston Gulf Coast Building and Construction Trades Council. So commend you all on the apprenticeship program. I guess my question is to you, Tony, has the apprenticeship program helped you look into the future of expanding your business outside of Dallas or even just in Dallas to grow it even further?
It's a good question. The short answer is yes. Go back to 2019, just to give you poor performing factory, propped up by subcontractors. We know what the price of subcontractors is in the aerospace industry. And we started investing in the apprenticeship training program in 2019. Not to bring up the word COVID, but thank God I did that, because when it came to COVID, everyone wanted to go back to their home state. So all my Kansas number plates left the parking lot, and thank goodness I had a lot of apprentices coming through. I actually doubled the class size because, well, you know why I doubled the class size, because I had to make aircraft wings. During that time, and I'm very even though I've got a funny accent, I'm a proud Texan, right? So all of the other manufacturing companies around the world were shutting, and they were sending people home, and we kept open, and I made sure they were aware of that. And now it was key. It was a key part, obviously, for an aircraft. Wings, a key component, but it was key that we kept on delivering, and we were surpassing our delivery targets while other people weren't, and having local people, and all the other plants had a higher level of subcontractors. We were turning the tide. We weren't there yet. So now, in terms of a business model, we don't talk about retention anymore. It used to keep me awake at nights. We don't talk about it. And seriously, it was keep me awake at nights. So we now have the robustness to look for more work, and we're doing that. So, we're looking at various contracts. I'm not going to go, but we want to. When people when other companies talk about, well, we've got skills shortage, retention problem. Yeah, I mean, it's not smooth sailing. I don't mean to sound like it's a wonder drug. It's not, but we don't have the same problem. So we're now more, in terms of looking at because we've got local people in Red Oak that want to stay. And honestly, I can't overemphasize that. We need to unlock it, and I think I want to expand. I recently now what I'm doing, rather than being the black sheep of the family, we're taking tours from people from Canada and parts of the US coming, so there's a bit of arrogance, as you can probably tell from us now, so because they used to write us off. So, but definitely, we had people through TSTC there last week, and we're going to keep on tooting our own horn, as they say, and making sure that people know that we're here and we're here to stay. And it's making us not just more competitive in terms of efficiency and learning curve and productivity, but it's making us more robust in terms of a stable workforce. And given the current turmoil that we've all been through in all of your industries, that's priceless, right? Did I answer your question? Good, thanks.
We have a question over here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Jason Shaw, and I work for Engie. And so Engie itself is an international company, and it's an energy provider. So we have a division here in North America. We've set up in Houston. There's actually no office, though, per se, anywhere else. So my question is, for registered apprenticeship, is this only applicable for the local apprenticeship businesses? what if we don't have a place to work? For example, internationally speaking, there's no other apprenticeship. How would we set this up? How can that be successful for international companies like this that want to reduce the travel cost?
So I guess I'll take that one. From an international standpoint, I can't really speak to, because U.S. Department of Labor reaches, within the country. Our authority stops at the border, so to speak. But for organizations like that who are multinational.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but let me clarify, I'm sorry, maybe I didn't make it clear. What about Texas? Could we set up, if it's an internationally owned company, how do we set up an internationally owned location here in Texas?
Yes, thank you, sir, and I understand. So, again, for companies that are multi-location within the state of Texas, or companies that work within multiple states in the United States, we have an apprenticeship model, and we can build a program that meets your needs and addresses those training needs for individuals who may be out in the field away from a central corporate office, if you will. We can make apprenticeships work for that. So yes, registered apprenticeship does work in those situations, and we'd be happy to work with you to look into that further.
And quickly, just for clarification, who would be that contact person?
Well, I'll volunteer myself or my boss. If it's a Texas program, then it will start with my boss, Mr. Lee Price, in the audience. He's the DOL Texas State Director for Apprenticeship. Or reach out to any of our partners. The Texas Workforce Commission Apprenticeship Texas team can talk to you about anything in Texas, and they have experts. Your local workforce.
Yes, they're amazing people to work with. Yes, I'm very well aware.
They are easy folks to work with. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we have 2.5 minutes, and I also don't want to get in trouble for going over time. Are there any other questions? Yes, more shirts.
Absolutely, no problem. Yeah,
Brandy,
$10 each.
Yes.
Brandy, I'll offer a quick comment just to throw this in, because we've talked about a lot of the factual, the details, the mechanical, the moving parts of all this apprenticeship. But I've had the honor of being invited to a couple of the graduations at Bombardier, the cohorts. We've had, I think we're 3 going on our 4th cohort graduating the 1.5-year long program now. So we're well into this. Every time I get an invitation to go to the graduation ceremony, I notice 3 things about every class. They're excited, they're confident, and they're proud. And that's the real power of the impact that apprenticeship can have on your organization.
It's a good reminder of why all of us in the workforce space do what we do, for sure. Well, I want to thank all of you gentlemen for your time. I can't tell if the slide changed, but there's a slide with our contact information. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Again, we appreciate your attention, your comments, and also your questions. And let's just keep pushing registered apprenticeship to make Texas the best it can be. Thank you.
Thank you.